Alright, let's go over 1.6, Measuring Center. After this lesson, you should be able to find and interpret the median of a distribution of a quantitative data, calculate the mean of a distribution of quantitative data, and then compare the mean and median of a distribution, choose the more appropriate measure, center it in a given setting. Example number 1, the table shows average lifespans of animals, like basically how long do they live over here. Identify the outlier. So remember, the outlier is something that's kind of unusual. So if I look at all these numbers over here, I notice that the only number is the Galapagos tortoise. So the outlier appears. So in statistics, we're always using words like, we're not definitively saying the answer. We're kind of saying like it's 99.9% the answer or observation. So the outlier appears to be the Galapagos tortoise with a lifespan of 200 years. So again, we're always trying to answer in complete sentences. Okay. So we did 1A. 1B, find the mean, median, and mode with and without the outlier. So we kind of already were exposed to these before, but the mean is essentially the average. That is our X bar. X bar is the symbol for the mean. You just take all the numbers, so like a summation, that's a Greek letter, basically just means add up all of your numbers and then divide it how many are in your list. Okay? Let's go ahead and do that with the outlier, so all of those. So X bar is going to equal, I'm looking at that list over there, 35 plus 30 plus 50 plus 200 plus 30 plus 70 plus 20. And then you can count how many animals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 animals. So if I add all of those together, 100, 120, 220, 270, 300, and 335 divided by 7. 7 goes into 33, still using math here, right? I'm going to pull out my calculator just to make sure I don't make a mistake. So 35 plus 30 plus 50 plus 200 plus 30 plus 70 plus 20. 435 divided by 7 gives us an average of approximately 62.14. Doesn't tell us about decimals, but a couple of decimals are helpful. Okay, let's go ahead and do the median. So if I list out all of these in order, 20, 30, 30, 20, 30, 30, 35, 50, 70, and 200. So remember, we have 7 numbers over here, so n is equal to 7. Okay, that means that the number of animals is odd. And odd kind of just implies that you pick the number. Median, remember, don't jaywalk. Don't stand in the middle or median, the middle of the street. So here's the median. The reason why 35 is the median, because there's 3 numbers to the left and 3 numbers to the right. Okay, so our median is 35. All right, let's pick out the color. And then the mode. Mode is what happens the most. And does any number of there happen the most? That would be 30. So the mode is 30. Okay. Now I want you to go ahead and work here on the right hand side. And that was really thick. And you work on the right hand side, but do that without the outlier. Okay, so don't include the tortoise. Go ahead and calculate the mean, median, mode. Go ahead and take a minute. Press pause, and then I'll work those out really quickly. All right, so hopefully you've had some time to calculate that. So x bar is 35 plus 30 plus 35. Plus 50 plus 30 plus 70 plus 20 divided by, remember now, 6 numbers on the list. So if you take out, double check. So 35 plus 30 plus 50 plus 30 plus 70 plus 20. Okay, I got 235 divided by 6, and that gives me around 39.17, approximately 39.17. Okay, so that's our average. And then if you don't include the tortoise, you're going to have 20, 30, 30, 35, 50, and 70. And if you pay attention now, our list has an even number, right? N is equal to 6, so this is an even number. So why is that important? So now you're gonna, the middle is right here, so you're gonna have to take the average of those two numbers. So 30 plus 35 and divided by 2 gives me 65, so 32.5. So our median is 32.5. And then the last one, what happens to the mode? The mode is still 30. Okay, determine how the outlier affects the mean, median, and the mode. Well, if we calculate the numbers, and let's just use what we did in blue. So I go from 32.4 to 39.17. So let's write that. The mean, did it go up or down from with the outlier to without it? The mean decreased or went down. So that's a math word that says go down, decreased by 62.14 minus 39.17. I think that gives us to around 22.97. Okay, let's talk about the orange now. What happens when you go from 35 to 32.5? The median also what? Decreased by 35 minus 32.5 gives us by 2.5. And then how about the mode? The mode did not change. Okay? All right, so here's the big idea of today. Which measure of central tendency, they call these central tendencies, mean, median, mode, or measure of center, and I'll show you why they call it the center, best describes the data with and without the outlier. Okay, so let's go in blue. Which of those colors, the blue, orange, or pink that we just did in 1C, which number was changed the most? Which number was changed the most? Well, no change is like 0, right? So the mean. The mean was affected the most with the outlier. Let's talk about the median in orange. So the median changed very little with and without the outlier. I'm going to change colors. I'm going to write all caps to say why it's important. So it is best, the median is best, best describes the data in both cases. Okay, so why would I not use the mode, even though it doesn't change? The mode doesn't describe the data well, since there were only 2 repeated numbers. There were only 2 repeated numbers. Okay, so there in green was kind of like my big idea. And so now I just want you to take a quick break, and I want you to draw, for example, number 2, draw the 3 graphs. Draw me a skewed right, draw me a skewed left, and go ahead and draw me a normal or symmetric curve. Go ahead and pause and take 30 seconds to do that. All right, let's go ahead and do a skewed right. So remember, like you're skiing, here is flat ground and here's your hill. And there you go. You're going skiing to the right. Right? And then let's just say you are symmetrical. Well, you can go any direction, right? And then a skewed left. Kind of looks like that. Remember, you're up here and you go this way. And all the data, there's nothing to the left there. So this one would be left skewed. Okay. Let's start with skewed right. Skewed to the right is also called positively skewed. Okay, here's the big idea. The mean and median are to the right of the mode. All right, let me try to explain this. Okay, so here is the mode blue, and that's just telling us about repeated numbers. Doesn't really mean much, okay? And then the median, light blue, isn't really changed much either. But the one that was influenced the most was the mean. And this is how I'm going to try to describe it to you, okay? Let's talk about heights, okay? We take the average heights of our classroom. Most people are not that tall, but in comes Shaquille O'Neal, super tall person. This is Shaq, super big. And his average height is going to take the mean and pull it towards him. Because really what he is he's an outlier. He's like super tall. Okay? All right, let's talk about the normal or symmetric. So they call this one zero skewness. So just big idea, it's normal. And this is what you need to know. The mean is equal to the median, so it's exactly the same, and it's also equal to the mode. All of those numbers are the same. So let's go back to our color coordination on the left side, okay? The mode, the median, and the mean are exactly the same. Okay? All right, let's try it over here now with left, okay? They would call this one negatively skewed. Sorry. Negatively skewed. All right, big idea for this one is, where is the mean and median? The mean and median are to the left. See that? Left of the mode. Okay, so let's do this with colors. So here's the mode. Doesn't really change much. Shaq came into the room. The median's kind of staying right there. But in comes someone who is gifted height-wise, but not so tall. What does that do? The measure of center that is most influenced by this outlier here is the mean. It can be pulled. The numbers get pulled. Okay? Another way of explaining it is the median is resistant. It's not going to get pulled so much by an outlier, someone who's super tall or super short. Okay? So that kind of shows it visually. I'm just going to do a chart on the next page. So let's go ahead and do that chart. All right, so page 2, big idea is choosing the measure of center. Okay, and the question you're going to ask is it symmetrical? Is it symmetrical? Does it look like this right there? Okay. Let's try to color code this. Like, I always think of lights, like green light, yellow light. So if it is symmetrical, make a chart here. And this is called the measure of center that we would use. And over here is the spread. We actually talked about that before. Remember the jam? Okay. Alright, so the measure of center you would use, if it is symmetrical, you will use the mean. And another word for the mean is kind of like back in your early days, they call that the average. The formula for that is x bar. The summation of all your numbers. So symbols are important. Summation, that's what that backwards E stands for. It just means add all the numbers up, and then you basically divide it by n, which is the number of items in your list. Okay, this one's going to be new to us, but we're going to learn it later. So the best spread is the mean absolute deviation. Mr. Ring, you got to be mad. Alright. Okay, what would happen though if no, it is not symmetrical? Then, okay, so if it's not symmetrical, I want you to think about this. In these three pictures, if it's not symmetrical, then you're crossing it off, then basically it's what? It means it's skewed. It's skewed. So I'm going to write that out here, skewed. Okay, what is our measure of center? You will use the median. And then something we're going to learn later on is called the interquartile range. And that is abbreviated by IQR. And basically, this comes from a future lesson, but I just want to write it here so you kind of 5-number summary. Okay? So, you'll look at, just ask the question, is it symmetrical? If it is symmetrical, then you do the green light. If it's not, no way, it's skewed. No, it's not symmetrical, then you do what's in pink. Okay? Let's apply that to a problem. Travel. The dot plot, or they also call this line plots, but if you just change all those x's to dots, dot plot, shows the number of states students in Elisa's social studies class have visited. Oh, shouldn't have that part. Choose the appropriate measure to describe the center and spread of the distribution. Justify your answer based on the distribution. Okay, so here is a hint of what you can do, okay? Always, when you see some type of quantitative graph like I do, you want to kind of make your mountain. Gotta go skiing. Kind of embarrassing, I've never been skiing, okay? But you kind of have to make this bump, okay? So let's go above to our chart. Question, does that look symmetrical? It would be symmetrical if I kind of just focused on, and it's still not. Because you're missing some x's there. Here and here. Here and here, right? That would be symmetrical, and you're looking just in that white box. But that's not the case. So you have something like this, that means it's what? Skewed right, okay? Well, if it's skewed, that means our median and our IQR is the best way. So let's write that. Because, okay, so the graph, what's the better word for graph? The distribution, that's the picture above, is skewed. How do you know another way it's skewed? You have the outlier. Okay, now use the words that are in there. The appropriate, this is your English skills. Grammar, the appropriate measures to describe the center is the what? Median. And the best spread would be using the, what do we say above? Interquartile range, IQR / 5-number summary, which again, you don't really know, but it's just putting out there early, okay? All right, make a bump on question number 4. Example number 4, multiple choice. Refer to the line plot or dot plot there. Does that look normal? Can you cut it in half? Can you give half the left side to your brother and the right side to your sister and they won't fight? Go skiing. Kind of draw it above. Okay, so this one, again, doesn't look normal, okay? If it looked normal, you would have something in orange, right? But you have some data missing, right? The piles are missing here. You're missing some numbers right there. So I would say that one is skewed. And if it is skewed, which measure is the most appropriate to describe the variation or spread? So notice how they're not talking about center, okay? So let's hammer this point home. On a graph, center would be this, right? Right down the middle. Right down the middle. See that? That would be your center, okay? But this one is talking about spread, okay? What is spread? Spread is this column here, but in a picture, it's like jam or butter. Okay, my kids like eating lots of strawberry jam. So jam is like spreading it out, going left and right. The jam is going this way and this way, okay? We'll talk more about it, but I just want you to think of the idea of variation or is like spread. So like, you know, there's different types of cars and how fuel efficient they are. So if you look above, we said the interquartile range or the 5-number summary. So that would be F, okay? Let's go on to some more examples. All right, page 3. Let's get after these examples. All right, what are some things that you should be able to do here? Can you put those in ascending order? Yes, you can. Okay. Picture might be new to you, but you're basically just drawing a dot plot. Symmetrical, we just reviewed it. Yes, mean, yes, median, mode. Okay, okay. Range, we've talked about before. And then outlier, this one's a little bit new and ambiguous. And then this is today's lesson, right? So let's try this problem. Let's write them in order, okay? Again, use your check marks. 42, 98, 99, 99, 99. 3 of them. And 100. Okay. So if you drew a picture And let's just say you put the max 100 over here, and let's just say you have 1 over here, okay? I'm just trying to draw a quick visual, give you guys understand what's happening, okay? So if that's 50, let's just say this is like 42, yeah? And then 98, 399s, and 100. And what I'm trying to point out is most of the data is like way over there and then something way over there. Does that make sense? So question, is that symmetrical? No. Skewed what? There's nothing over here to the left. Skewed left. You're skiing to the left. Okay? What's our mean? Okay. Let me show you with this example using the calculator I have on this iPad. And it mimics basically a TI-84, TI-83 Texas Instrument, and then maybe the other example I'll try to use like a scientific calculator. No, that's not what I want. Alright, so you turn it on, bottom left. This one's a little bit different. Press clear, you're on the home screen. Okay, let's get these numbers in. So, stat, edit. Okay, I already have some numbers to go up to where it highlights L1. You press clear, and then enter. Okay, you're going to hit each of the numbers and press enter. So I have 99, 42. I already showed you in the last video that your calculator can actually organize the information for you. That's probably only best for the mode or median, but your calculator can do a lot. Okay, so this verifies, you see that the 7th number is 99. So this is 7 numbers, 99, okay? I'm going to press stat, calculate, one var stats, and then we just have to put in our list. So list is the same button as stat next to the left key, so you're going to press stat second, stat, and L1. That gets that in there, and you can press enter. Okay, some numbers that you should see are my mean. Take a picture of this and refer back to it. Where'd you go, notes? There you are. Okay, what was our mean? Our mean, you can calculate that by hand, but it's 91, right? You just take all those numbers, and hopefully you realize that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers on the list. So I picked this example because n equals 7 because there's 7 numbers on the list. It's an odd example of numbers on the list, right? So you add those numbers and then divide it by 7, okay? Now your calculator actually has that from the previous screen. Summation of x was 637, and it verified that you put in 7 numbers. So if you do that, then you get x bar equals 91. Okay, on the previous screen, it actually has something for us. On the far right, it had min, which is minimum, max, and it has med, M-E-D, for median. So the median, in this case, is 99. Remember, you do that by hand. You're just taking this. It's an odd number list. That's your number, because you have 3 numbers to the left, 3 numbers to the right, you have 1 number in the middle, that's 99. Okay? Okay, what number happens the most? Well, that would just be the number that's repeated the most, that would be 99. Okay, range, go back to your formula sheet. If you haven't created one, you can create one. Range is the max minus the min. The biggest number minus the smallest number. So the biggest number from the ascending order would be 100 minus 42. 100 minus 42. So my range would be 58. Okay, for right now, the outlier, we're just going to calculate the outlier based on what you see there, visually, for right now, okay? And that number, the smallest number, or just, that doesn't belong to the rest of the group, right? It looks unusual, that would be 42. Okay, so let's hammer it home. Let's use that chart. Is it symmetrical? The one we just drew. No, it's not. It's not symmetrical. So what should we use? The best measure of center is the median. Because it is not symmetrical. Another word for not symmetrical? Skewed. We should use the median. Why? It's more resistant. It's not going to be pulled. Okay? All right, pause the video. You try example number 6. And then let's see if I can punch in numbers through a scientific calculator to help you. All right, so now we're going to go over this one really quickly. Put those in order. Use your check marks. 60, 65, 70, 75. Whoa. 80, 85, 85. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing a number. 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and then 85 3 times. Okay, so I picked that example because it is a even. And if you do your graph or your distribution, let's just say you have all those 60, 65. I'm just trying to draw you a dot plot just to give you like an idea what it kind of looks like. So yeah, 60. So here's the advantage of going from least to greatest. And then you draw your graph, and you have a lot more of your days over there, right? So question, is it normal? No, it's not. So, no, same thing, skewed left. And then I just showed you, I'll show you guys how to use the scientific calculator right now. Let's go over example number 6. So I have a scientific calculator here, and I have this Casio. This Casio is amazing, so I'm going to do mode. And computations is just kind of like 6 times 6, right? Press enter, and you get an answer, right? So we need to go to a stats function. So let's see. Okay, I pressed mode. And then number 2 for stats. Okay, and then one var stats, one variable statistics. And now it's going to tell me to put in the numbers to the list. So the numbers on the list, for example, number 6 are 80. Press enter, equals. I have 85, 75, 85, 70. 65, 60, and 85. Okay? Alright, so you should recognize that this list has now only 8 numbers. The 9th number, I have no number there, okay? Alright, so once I press AC, it'll keep all the numbers in my list. And I'm going to press Shift 1, which gives me stat. and then we want 4. N is the number of numbers you have in your list. There is your average, X bar, the mean. This is called population standard deviation, and the lowercase s is the standard deviation. So I probably just really want number 2. And then press N equals or enters, and then you'll get 76.25. Alright, so that was using Casio, and it's probably very similar to a Texas Instrument if you have that. But you just Google it, YouTube it, you'll figure it out. Alright, so we got X bar for this one to be 75.625. Double check that was the correct answer. Yes. Okay, what's the median? Well, remember, you have an even set, so if I draw this blue dotted line, that means there are 4 numbers to the left, 4 numbers to the right, which means you have to take the average of the 4th and 5th number. So this one is going to be 75 plus 80 divided by 2. That's how you find the average, right? And so for that one, 75 plus 80 divided by 2. And you get 77.5 is our median. Okay? Mode, what number happens the most? That would be 85. And then the max minus the min, 85 minus 60. So in this case, my spread is not as much, right? You see the difference there? And then any outliers? No, it doesn't look like there's any. Okay, so you can do that visually, right? There was no super far in numbers, extreme numbers. But I'd probably still use the median. So what is the best measure of center for this problem? Because it's not symmetrical, it's skewed, I'm going to basically have the same answer. Because it is not symmetrical, rather it is skewed, we should use the median. Okay? Alright. Examples 7 and 8, same exact thing. You try it, press pause, and then I'll go over those really quickly. Again, you can go ahead and skip probably a couple of minutes, just if you don't want to see me work it out. Alright, so look at our numbers. 18, whoops, 16, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 21, 75. What does our picture look like? You know, I have a bunch of numbers over here, right? 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 21, and then something way over here, 75. So my graph's kind of looking like that, right? It's being pulled there. Symmetrical? No. If it was symmetrical based on what we did, it'd be something like this. The bump would be right in the middle. What is our mean? Just going to punch it into my calculator. 16, 21, 20, 19, 21, 75, 18, 21, 20. Stat, calculate, one of our stats. I want that list. Yes, calculate. Boom. X bar, 25.67. Median, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers in the list. That is odd. So I'm just going to pick a number in the middle, 4 to the right, 4 to the left. So 20 is my median here. Let's make sure we have the one was 75. Okay. Mode, what number is happening the most there? That would be the 21s. My range would be 59, max minus the min. So 75 minus the 16. The outlier, the number that looks kind of unusual, doesn't belong in there. That would be 75. And what would we use here? Again, this one has the outlier, so use the median. It's because it's less resistant. Less resistant to the outlier. The outlier is very powerful. It's like the dark force. Dark force? Not the force. What's the other one called? Alright. 1, 1, 6, 8. 7, 9, 10, 12, 45. Let's count that number on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. Need 4 numbers, so there is our median. And we just write all the answers out. Oh, it's the money problem. Do you guys know what a dance-a-thon is? It's like, you give me money to raise money for my club, and you will pledge money. That's what it is. So, is it symmetrical? No. Mean. You'll get 11. The median is 8. The mode is 1. Range is the biggest number, 45 minus 1, so that would be 44. Outlier appears to be the 45. And same thing, right? Median, use the same. And again, let's just practice drawing that graph. You're going to see this graph a lot. So 1, and let's just say you only have like 50. So 1, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and one way over here. Draw your bump. I mean, you could exaggerate it by just making your dots like really big, but they have to be the same size. Oops, here's a better graph. Okay. Alright, so hopefully that was enough practice for you. Try your homework. Good luck, guys. Bye.